Many old people often compare today with their past, not because they are stuck, not because they cannot move forward. Something deeper is happening. Their past has become a part of how they understand the present. When people are young, they look ahead, plans, goals, future. Their mind is always moving forward. But with age, the direction slowly changes. The future becomes shorter, the past becomes longer, and naturally, the mind begins to look back, more often, more deeply. This is not weakness, it is reflection. There is also something important happening in memory. Old memories become stronger, clearer, more detailed, while recent memories may fade faster, so the past feels alive, almost closer than the present. This is why they talk about it, compare it, bring it into today's moment. There is also a need to make sense of life. After many years, people want to understand their journey, what it meant, what it became, so they compare. Life was different back then. Things were simpler. People were closer. These are not just statements, they are ways of processing life. There is also something emotional here. The past carries meaning, relationships, struggles, achievements. When they compare today with the past, they are not just comparing time. They are comparing feelings, how things felt then and how things feel now. Sometimes this brings comfort, warm memories, familiar moments, but sometimes it brings a quiet sadness, because some things cannot return. There is also a sense of identity. The past holds who they were, their role, their strength, their place in the world. When the present feels different, they look back to reconnect with that identity, to remember themselves. There is also a natural human pattern. We all compare. Young people compare themselves to others. Older people compare time, because time is what they have experienced the most. There is also a difference in pace. Life today feels faster, more rushed, more complicated. For older people, this can feel overwhelming, so they compare it to a time when things felt slower, simpler, more understandable. This comparison helps them make sense of the change. There is also a quiet resistance to change, not because they reject it, but because they have seen how much has changed. Technology, behavior, values. So comparing becomes a way to hold on to something stable, something familiar. There is also something about loss. When people, places, and routines disappear, the past becomes a place where they still exist, so they return to it, not physically, but mentally, through comparison, through memory. There is also a feeling of distance. They may feel that the present world is no longer fully theirs, so they stay connected to a time where they felt fully included, fully understood. This creates a bridge between then and now. There is also something reflective. They are not just saying, things were better before. They are asking a deeper question. What has changed? What have we lost? What have we gained? Even if they do not say it directly, there is also a quiet wisdom in this behavior. They have seen patterns. They know that change is not always progress, so they compare to evaluate, to understand. There is also a connection with storytelling. Older people often share past experiences, not just to remember, but to pass something on, a lesson, a feeling, a perspective. Comparison becomes a way to teach, gently. There is also something emotional about being heard. When they talk about the past, they are sharing their life, and when someone listens, it gives that life value. So comparison is also a form of communication, a way of saying, this is what I lived. There is also a quiet comfort in familiarity. The present may feel uncertain, but the past is known, clear, so they return to it. Through comparison, there is also something about meaning. As people age, they begin to look for meaning more than achievement. And meaning is often found by connecting past and present, seeing the full picture. There is also a shift in focus. They are less interested in what is coming, and more interested in what has been, because what has been is certain. It is complete. In the end, when older people compare today with their past, they are not rejecting the present. They are trying to understand it through the lens of everything they have lived. And maybe the deeper truth is this: the past is not just memory, it is a map. And older people use that map to find their place in a world that keeps changing. And as this habit continues, their comparisons become softer, but more meaningful. They are not always trying to prove that the past was better. They are trying to understand why it felt different. There is a difference, a very deep one, because when they say, "things were better before," what they often mean is, "I felt more connected. I felt more needed. I felt more alive." The comparison is not about time. It is about feeling. There is also something very quiet happening inside them. They begin to measure change in people, not just in the world. How we spoke to each other, how we treated elders, how families stayed close. These are the things they notice, and when they compare, they are really asking, where did that feeling go? There is also a sense of distance that grows with time. The world changes faster than they can adjust. New habits, new ways of thinking, new ways of living. And even if they try to accept it, it still feels unfamiliar. So they look back, not to escape, but to find something that still makes sense, something that feels like home. There is also something emotional in this comparison. The past holds people who may no longer be here, friends, partners, family members. So when they talk about the past, they are also keeping those people alive, in memory, in conversation, in feeling. And comparing today with that past is a way of saying, they mattered. They were part of my life. There is also a quiet longing, not always painful, but present, a longing for moments that cannot return, not because today is empty, but because yesterday was full in a different way, and that fullness stays with them. There is also something reflective here. They are trying to understand how life has unfolded, what changed, what stayed the same, what was lost, and comparison helps them see that, like looking at two pictures from different times and noticing the details. There is also a difference in values. Older people often feel that certain values were stronger before: respect, patience, simplicity. And when they compare, they are not just judging, they are expressing concern, a quiet concern about what is fading. There is also something about pace. Life today feels fast, too fast sometimes, and when everything moves quickly, small moments get lost. So they compare it to a time when life felt slower, more present, more human. There is also a need to feel relevant. When they share the past, they are not just remembering, they are participating, bringing their experience into today's conversation. So comparison becomes a bridge, a way to stay connected to the present. There is also something deeply human here. Everyone wants their life to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. And older people have lived a long story. So when they compare, they are sharing parts of that story, piece by piece. There is also a quiet wisdom in their words. Even if it sounds like simple comparison, there is often a lesson inside, a reminder, a perspective, something learned through time. But it is not always spoken directly. It is hidden in the comparison. There is also something about acceptance. Over time, their comparisons become less emotional, more calm. They begin to accept that change is natural, that life moves forward, but still, they hold on to what mattered, and they carry it with them. There is also a soft balance. They live in the present, but they carry the past, not as a burden, but as a companion, something that walks with them, guides them, comforts them. There is also a deeper truth. The past becomes clearer because it is complete. The present feels uncertain because it is still unfolding. So they compare to bring clarity to the present, using what is already known. In the end, when older people compare today with their past, they are not trying to go back. They are trying to connect who they were with who they are now. And maybe the deeper truth is this: the past is not something they are stuck in. It is something they carry, so they can understand the present a little better and feel a little less lost in a world that keeps changing. And as time goes on, these comparisons become even quieter, almost like a private conversation inside their mind. They may not say it out loud anymore, but they still see it. Every day, a small moment today reminds them of something long ago. A smell, a sound, a way someone speaks, and suddenly, two times exist at once, the present and the past. This is not confusion, it is connection. Their mind has learned to link moments, to place today beside yesterday, and feel the difference. There is also something very gentle in this stage. They stop trying to explain the past to others, because they realize not everyone can feel it the way they do. You can hear a story, but you cannot feel the years behind it. So instead, they hold those feelings quietly, inside. There is also a soft acceptance that the world will keep changing, with or without them, and this realization brings a kind of calm. They no longer compare to argue, they compare to understand, to remind themselves of what mattered. There is also something deeply personal here. The past becomes a place where they can return any time, not physically, but emotionally. A place where everything is familiar, where people are still present, where they still feel whole. So when the present feels distant, they step into that place, just for a moment, through memory, through comparison. There is also a quiet blending of time. The line between past and present becomes softer, less separate. They carry both together, and sometimes they respond from that combined place. This is why their words can feel deeper, more layered, because they are not speaking from just one moment, but from many. There is also something reflective in how they see change now. They no longer resist it strongly. They observe it, they compare it, and then they let it pass, because they understand that every generation lives differently, and that is part of life. Still, they hold on to certain truths: kindness, respect, connection. These do not belong to any one time, and through comparison, they keep these truths alive. There is also a quiet emotion in this stage, not sadness, not happiness, something in between. A feeling of distance, but also closeness. Distance from the world as it is now, but closeness to everything they have lived. And this feeling becomes part of their daily life. There is also a deeper appreciation. When they compare, they begin to value both sides, the past for what it gave, the present for what still exists. Even if it is different, even if it feels unfamiliar, there is also a gentle wisdom here. They understand that every time has its own beauty, its own struggle, its own meaning. So comparison is no longer judgment. It becomes awareness, a way of seeing life more completely. There is also something very human in this final stage. They are not trying to hold on to the past or reject the present. They are trying to feel continuity, to feel that their life, from beginning to now, is still connected, still meaningful, still whole. In the end, comparing today with the past is not about living in yesterday. It is about carrying yesterday into today, with understanding. And maybe the final truth is this: a long life is not made of separate moments. It is made of connected ones. And older people, through quiet comparison, are simply trying to keep those connections alive, so that nothing they lived feels lost, and everything they were still feels part of who they are now. And in the final stage of this journey, comparison becomes almost invisible, not because it has stopped, but because it has become part of how they see everything. They no longer need to say, back then, or in our time, because every moment they experience now already carries that comparison inside it. It becomes natural, effortless, like breathing. They look at a situation and instantly feel how it is different from before, not in words, but in understanding. There is also a quiet peace in this stage. They stop trying to make others understand their past. They stop explaining how things used to be, because they realize something simple. Every person understands life through their own time, just as they once did. So instead of explaining, they observe, they accept, they let the difference exist. There is also something very deep happening here. The past is no longer just memory, it becomes meaning, a way to understand everything that happens now, a way to interpret people, situations, changes. So when they compare, they are not looking backward. They are using what they have lived to make sense of what is in front of them. There is also a gentle detachment. They do not feel the need to hold on to every difference or to correct every change. They allow life to move. They allow the world to evolve, and they stand quietly within it, watching, understanding. There is also a soft gratitude that can appear. When they compare, they begin to see how much they have lived, how many versions of life they have experienced, different times, different ways of living. And this realization brings a kind of richness, a feeling that their life has been full. There is also something emotional, but very calm, a sense that nothing is completely lost. Even if people are gone, even if places have changed, the feeling of those times still exists within them. So comparison becomes a reminder that life continues in memory, in feeling, in quiet presence. There is also a deeper acceptance of distance. They understand that the world may not fully feel like theirs anymore, and that is okay, because they carry their own world inside, a world built from years of living. And through comparison, they move between these two worlds, the outer one and the inner one. There is also something very human in this final understanding. They are no longer trying to choose between past and present. They hold both, gently, without conflict, without resistance. There is also a quiet wisdom that becomes clear, that every generation will one day do the same. Look back, compare, reflect, and try to understand how life has changed. So they do not judge it harshly. They recognize it as part of being human. There is also a soft slowing of thought, less analysis, less questioning, more feeling, more accepting. Comparison becomes less about thinking and more about sensing, feeling the difference without needing to explain it. And in that feeling, there is a kind of calm. In the end, comparing today with the past becomes a natural part of how they exist, not as a habit, but as a perspective, a way of seeing life as one continuous story. And maybe the final truth is this: when you have lived long enough, you do not separate time anymore. You carry it, all of it. And through that quiet carrying, you understand something very simple. Nothing truly disappears. It only changes form and stays with you in ways that words can no longer fully describe.